One of the areas I've spent a lot of time analyzing in asymmetric investing is autonomous vehicles. Who is going to win in that space? Who is testing the right technology? Who has the right business model for autonomous vehicles? And one of the companies that I haven't covered a lot because they haven't really had a lot to say about autonomous vehicles until recently is Uber. Now, Uber tried to build its own autonomous vehicles a few years ago. They actually had one of the worst accidents that we've ever seen with an autonomous vehicle. Actually had to shut that unit down, not only partially because of that accident, but because of some intellectual property issues that they had as well. So they are not a company that's going to make autonomous vehicles, but they may play a really critical role in the future of autonomous vehicles because they have a marketplace business. And their CEO was recently at a conference, made some really interesting comments about the future of autonomous vehicles and Uber. I want to go through what that business model looks like in the future, because I think the company is really well positioned, but this is going to be very different than the business model that they have today. And the biggest difference is going to be, instead of thousands, maybe millions of suppliers of vehicles, meaning the drivers that are actually picking you up in their Ubers, there is going to be just a handful of suppliers. So that's going to change the supply and demand dynamics a little bit, maybe that profitability a little bit, but I think it will absolutely expand the market for everybody. That's what I'm going to dig into today. My name is Travis Hoium. Thanks for watching Asymmetric Investing. Please subscribe here on YouTube for all my content. And thanks to this video sponsor, The Motley Fool. If you go to fool.com/ASYM, they'll give you their top 10 stocks to buy right now. I'm going to start with a couple of quotes, and I'm going to leave these up on the screen for a little while so that you can read the full quote if you would like. So Dara starts by saying, we think autonomous vehicles are going to be very, very high quality supply that comes to the marketplace over a period of time, because it's going to take some time to scale up, and it's going to increase the total addressable market, certainly in mobility, delivery, and freight. And that's Uber's key markets. So it's going to improve the marketplace overall. That makes sense through the lens of Uber being the marketplace that people are interacting with. If you think about a concept like aggregation theory, which Ben Thompson popularized, or even the smiling curve, which I've talked about a lot here on this channel, the winners in those marketplaces are the companies that can aggregate demand. They are the place that you go to find something. If you want to look for a piece of streaming content, you just go to Netflix. If you're looking to connect with other people, you just go to Facebook. There are these central places that in a digital world, people go to find content. YouTube, where you're watching this right now, is a perfect example of that. So if you just associate all ride sharing with Uber, and that's the first place you go. It's the first place you go to look for a ride. It's the first place you go to look for food. It's the first place you go to get stuff delivered to your house. Then Uber is going to be the marketplace. They are going to be the aggregator of demand. And that is what Uber wants to be. That is their business model. And that's how they could succeed as autonomous vehicles become the suppliers that they're using, as opposed to the human drivers that they use today. He goes on to say, we're already working with 10 autonomous players in the mobility category. We've been working with Waymo. We've had a few cool announcements. One of those was with Cruise. I again covered this on this channel earlier. That is the company that's owned by General Motors. I think that is a huge potential upside for General Motors. But Cruise is one of the leaders along with Waymo in the US, and then they were working with a company called Wave in the UK. He says hardware and scaling and making the economics work is going to be difficult for these companies. He says they're spending billions of dollars developing this technology. And then the challenge is, do you build these autonomous ride sharing systems by yourself? If you're Waymo or if you're Cruise, do you now try to attract millions, hundreds of millions of users, something that Uber has spent the last 10 or 15 years doing? Or do you just plug into Uber? Well, the easy answer is going to be just plug into Uber. So that's really what Uber would like to be. And he says that there's going to be multiple winners in the space, and it's not going to be a winner take all market. Now, keep in mind that that is to Uber's incentive. If there is a winner take all in this space, if let's say Waymo is the winner and builds the scale of autonomous vehicles, and you're getting everything from deliveries to mobility through the Waymo app, then Uber doesn't really have a place in the future. But if there's a half dozen or a dozen companies that have different autonomous services, then Uber does play an important role. Now, their power in the market may be a little bit different depending on the number of players that there are. But if he's right that this is not a winner-take-all market, then Uber absolutely has a place to play, even if they don't have any autonomous vehicles. This could be the transportation and the delivery company that's running fully autonomously but doesn't actually own any autonomous vehicles. Thanks to our friends at The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/ASYM for the top 10 stocks to buy right now. So how does this market play out and who should you be watching? Well, obviously Uber is going to be trying to be the marketplace company, but I think the question is going to be if the number of suppliers are going from thousands, millions of suppliers, where Uber basically makes the rule for all those drivers, to a handful of suppliers. Are their margins, is their take rate going to go down a little bit? That may be okay because the addressable market is bigger, but that's something to keep an eye on. But I think Uber is really well positioned in this market. The other companies from an autonomous side to the supplier side to look at is going to be General Motors. They are the owner of Cruise. So that's basically pure upside because General Motors stock is trading for 5 times earnings right now, but they are one of the key partners already along with Waymo. Waymo is owned by Alphabet, so a very small piece of Alphabet, but a meaningful piece of Alphabet because they've been investing billions of dollars in this for years. Two other companies to keep an eye on is Mobileye. Mobileye is the horizontal player, the technology company that is selling technology to other automakers. So they announced a partnership in Croatia where they're basically trying to build a level 4 autonomous vehicle, basically like a Waymo or a Cruise, but it's built on Mobileye's drive technology. So that will be about a $50,000 cost for that automaker, but they don't have to develop their own autonomous driving system. Mobileye does that for them. So that's the modular player there. The other one that we don't know much about is Tesla. Will Tesla just plug into Uber? Are they going to be able to have a level 3, level 4, level 5 autonomous vehicle, something that can actually fit in this robo-taxi marketplace? We don't know that yet. We'll find out more in October. But the first 3 that I talked about, Waymo, Cruise, and Mobileye, are companies that are actually on the road testing today. So they would be the place that I would look from an investment perspective to have the most upside, not only from their valuation perspective, but also they're actually operating in the market. So if you're interested in what's going on in autonomy, I think Uber is actually a really interesting player. And this actually validates what a lot of these other companies are doing. I'm really invested in General Motors because I think Cruise, again, the upside, the price is just too attractive right now. But I also own shares of Alphabet in part because of that upside from Waymo. So I think all of these companies are really well positioned. Mobileye, a little bit of a more unknown player because we don't know who's going to be doing a level 4 or a level 5 system with them. But if there are going to be 10, 12 operators from Uber, it's likely that a company like Mobileye and a company like Uber are going to be 2 of the winners in the autonomous driving market space. So if you want more information on this, I will be covering this all the time in the future because I think this is a massive market in the making. But let me know what you think about the future of autonomous driving. Leave those comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to Asymmetric Investing. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time.